Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. If you're not familiar with all the different ways you can dive in on this show and how to listen to it, here's a tip. You can stream it online. You can watch it on the KSL Sports YouTube channel. You can go back and listen to the podcast versions of it. You can dial yourself in at 97.5 FM or 1280 AM or 102.7 HD2. Which you and I are a huge fan of.
That's my favorite in the car.
Yeah.
I listen to it on 102.7 HD2.
It's awesome. So
crystal clear.
We want to just throw it out there because we love that you guys tune in, and we love we're not able to do this without you guys who are listening. So we appreciate it. JJ, we're at another stop here. The tour continues of the Players of the Week honors. This week today we're down in Utah County for the KSL Sports Players of the Week Awards presented by Mr. Mack down here in Utah County. I think Mr. Mack himself, a.k.a. Alema Harrington, is going to be walking into these doors here, and we get to chat with him. And speaking of a guy who works with a lot of high school kids, this is right up his alley too. And Mr. Mack is good to get on board with it.
I guarantee he's not walking in here without a suit on.
Oh, listen. Well, at the very least, he's going to have some shoes that are worth more than any suit that I own.
That's for sure.
And they'll be like, he got it. They're like the kicks that my kid wants to buy. You know what I mean?
We'll have to ask him who's the best dresser on the Jazz.
They compete.
Games, him
they
or
compete.
Thurl.
But they compete, and Mike Smith
looks
gets involved
good too.
And they Bowler's like, settle down, guys. Give me the black suit and a Jazz pen. I'll be fine.
I'm a simple man.
Well, he doesn't. You don't need to do all the colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
It's you got to look good on TV.
Alema is going to come down and chat with us. He's representing Mr. Mack today, and we're going to be chatting with them as well. And so we're going to honor another set of Players of the Week. This time the Utah County edition, which is great because we're going to see a lot of kids that we got to cover. I mean, JJ, you cover 90% of these games. I get to do a couple a year, and even that for me, it's so much work, and you do so much work, and Jake Hatch does such a good job, and it's kind of celebrating you guys too. But these high school kids, this just keeps getting better and better. Last night was awesome up in Salt Lake at our studios.
Yeah, it's all about the kids and celebrating what they've accomplished. Football's a hard game, and they put a lot of time and effort into this. And when they do something special and they stand out each and every week, it's great to give them some recognition for all that hard work and that dedication. You know, some of these guys are going to get a chance to play at the next level, but not all of them. And so
most won't,
an
right?
opportunity to celebrate what they've accomplished
Yeah.
and have moments like this, it'll benefit them for a lifetime. So they'll always remember these things and stick with them. So we're fortunate to be a small part of that experience for them. And it's just so important to celebrate what our youth are doing in this community. And football is just one part of it. And the great thing about going to a football game is it's not just the players, it's not just the boys. You got the cheerleaders, you got the dance team, you got the band, you got everybody involved in it.
It's an
even
event.
the students, and it just gets all these schools together, and it brings people together, and that's why we love to celebrate it.
I mean, obviously we'd be able to get actual numbers on this, but we watch a lot of high school. We watch a lot of prep stuff. KSL leads out on that, but I want to know. I mean, it has to be the most. Every year going forward, it has to be the most kids signing to play in college that we've ever seen.
It grows each and every year. Yeah, and even with the crazy, it's funny because having been around it for a long time, recruiting has changed dramatically, and you even talk to the kids today, and the way that they're recruited today is much different than it was 5-10 years ago.
Right.
Social media's changed everything. How schools are doing it has changed, and the transfer portal has. To be honest, it's hurt a lot of high school kids. Schools that were looking for freshmen in the past aren't looking for freshmen anymore. They're looking for a kid that's ready to come in and play. And so some of the opportunities that existed before aren't there anymore for high school kids. And so that's kind of a bummer because you want to see these kids get the best opportunities. But it's a new world we live in, and everybody's having to adjust.
The man himself just walked in. We're going to be chatting with Alema in just a second. We were taking bets on what shoes you had. Yeah, there's always something.
Gosh, even when he's casual, he looks good.
And listen, when you say
look at that.
New Balance, like what's funny about that is people go, oh yeah, that's a dad shoe. My kids, this is the thing. This is the thing now. So Alema, of course, on brand. We love having him here. He's going to chat with us about Mr. Mack in just a few minutes. We have some breaking news, so let's fire it up here. We are getting right into it, JJ, and this one is wild. Let's go over to the try to figure out how to get a new coach breaking news desk. What's the latest, JJ? What happened today? Just mere 45 minutes ago.
This is a big one. Michigan has fired head coach Sharon Moore. That's according to Pete Thamel and others reporting this. And there's even more detail coming down. Through Pete Thamel.
This is not because of the job
everybody's
he's doing.
Dan Wetzel, Adam Schefter, they're all involved in this. This is multiple sources now reporting that UM head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. So Michigan is looking for a new head coach now after that report came out.
Stop me if you think that you've heard this one before, as Morrissey said. And, I mean, across the street in East Lansing, Mel Tucker, not 2 years ago, was Sharon Moore today. We have examples across the board of these possible things that have happened, and coaches, well, kudos to Michigan. Because you're a big institution, and you can make things not disappear. I don't want to make it sound like the big M is for mafia. What it is winning is the most important thing generally for these programs and generally in sports. And they let a lot of things slide. You don't let this slide in 2025. This thing has been sliding for decades prior to this. And I'm glad these universities are stepping up and going, hey, look, the biggest names with the most money at the top of our sport will be done immediately, and good luck finding a job ever again, Sharon Moore. And I'm telling you, it's one of these things. Now, again, he probably could find a job, and these are all allegations, okay? But in the end, Michigan doesn't make decisions lightly, and so their investigation came up with it, and I think that the bottom line is Sharon Moore – put them on the list of bad guy, right? For these coaches, you have one. They really just tell you it's like you got to win, and number two, you can't have an inappropriate.
You can't
relationship.
embarrass the university.
You can't have an inappropriate.
You can't violate Title IX. So
yeah, it's a huge deal. And by the way, what does this do for Michigan? What happens now?
Well, from a football perspective, this is quite a bombshell because the coaching cycle is pretty much done. I mean, you've seen a lot of jobs already filled. Some of the top young coaches in the country were already snatched up. Some of them you're going to see in the college football playoff. Where does Michigan go from here? I have no idea. And I don't think they were planning on having to. Or,
I got a name for you.
So this is pretty fresh. So I'm in my mind, I'm jogging, trying to figure out who would be next, who hasn't already taken a job. Is there a big name that's already at a place that would consider leaving now to take this job?
I've got two fun ones.
Okay.
Urban Meyer's available. Okay.
You think he would go coach the team up north?
It's like coaching. It's like if he came in and took Kalani's job. If Kalani would have left, that would have been the
Gary Anderson's at BYU.
Yeah,
anything's possible.
Anything can happen. But my actual serious one that I think could work, I think John Gruden. I think John Gruden.
You think he could do college?
He is so dying to get back into the game of coaching. Now, that's a weird switch from NFL and the weirdness that surrounded his firing. But he's also suing the NFL and going after those guys. And it's like a mess with that. And he's standing on his principle. But anyway, I don't know what coaches are out there. I don't know who's available still. I mean, you could go out and get Mike Gundy and patch something up for a year. But that's not a Michigan guy. He can't do that. What happens to these kids? It's one thing to leave and go to another school and then hit the transfer portal. Oh, that's right. Biff Pokey is the guy. He is the
interim head coach now at Michigan.
So he did that while Sharon was suspended for the Michigan violations of cheating.
Right.
He's a guy who has been a guy floating around college football, and he's made his millions off of like investment banking, and then he just turned coaching into like a hobby because he could do whatever he wanted, and now he's the interim head coach at Michigan, and his players love him, by the way. But that's a cool story if you ever going back and look that up. He's had a long, illustrious career in coaching, but I don't know what you do going forward, and I don't know what Michigan's done for a couple of years at least. You know what I mean? Even with NIL money coming in,
they're Michigan now.
There's some of they could get as much money support as anybody. But what they're not going to,
I bet. I'll finish your point, and then I'll share my.
I bet they're going out there and they're saying, "Hey, we got to get somebody, and we got to make a big splash." But the reality is none of that Michigan money goes away from those people. And in fact, your donors are going to go, "We got to step up. We cannot lose a step. We can't lose a step." So Sharon Moore out at Michigan, allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. We've seen this one before. Like I said, how on earth does this keep happening? It happened 18 months ago with Mel Tucker at Michigan State. And you would think that these guys would learn a lesson. But no can do. No can do. So there you go.
They're Michigan. They'll find whoever they want. They'll open up the Brinks truck. Some big name out there right now, they'll be able to prime away.
Do you think that they'll be able to just pick up where they left off there? I mean, they didn't have a phenomenal year, but I will say it, the 10-win season that they had.
They went 18-8 under Sharon Moore.
Yeah, but I think that was important the year that they had this year. Last year was definitely a down year, the year after a national championship. But they got up to 10 wins, right? They were 10-2 at the end of the year. And
they beat Michigan. They beat Ohio State last year. I mean,
right. 4 years in a row.
They did some good things. They were right in the mix. They're a ranked team. They were in the college football playoff conversation until a late season loss. So
yeah, that's interesting you brought that point up. It's a really good point about just being like, look, when these types of firings happen at big enough institutions, they can just buy their way into some patching up, something going on there. So anyway,
who do they want? I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to is at this point, who do they want? And they can go chase that. And they have the money. And it's one of the most prestigious jobs in the country. Where would you rank Michigan in jobs in college football? It's top 5, maybe at least top 10, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The resources, the history.
It's the second-rated public university in the country.
It's an incredible school.
Yeah.
We've been to the big house. You've been part of that environment. The list of coaches that have been there is impressive. So,
by the way, not a great place to watch a football game, but I'm just putting it out there.
I mean,
it is the big house, though.
It is the big house, but I, like you, I was like, oh, what's the big deal here?
There's a lot of people, but I can't see anything, and I can't actually hear anything.
Yeah.
Nobody's that loud. Like I want these guys to get excited.
But anyway, I look forward to seeing some of the names that surface and some that are kind of under the radar. I think there's going to be some big names at big institutions, maybe even some that are in the playoff right now, that end up getting in the mix. We'll see how that develops.
Kalani gets revisited again. Hey, you know what? Guess who might be available? I think a perfect fit for at least 5 years would be Coach Kyle Whittingham. That'd be wild, right?
That would be wild.
You don't think that? No. You think that he's either you think he's done coaching if he says that he's going to be done?
Oh, 100%.
So he's just going to go off into the grandfatherhood? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I totally believe it.
There's no job that would prime away at this point if he walks away from Utah. No job.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I just think that most of the way that people deal with this is just throwing money at it, and Michigan certainly can do that. So, All right, that was the breaking news at the top. Now let's just get to the cut and get to the opening of the show we actually had planned out. Let's jump to it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJANwealth.com. It's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. JJ, more talk today, obviously, about the college football playoff, where conferences stand and everything. And Brett Yormark had some comments talking specifically about this. He was asked about BYU's position in the college football playoff. And I was a little surprised with his there was a lot of his statement that I liked. There was a little bit that I think you're going to have maybe BYU fans raise an eyebrow and go, huh? Brett Yormark talking about the whole Notre Dame situation, though, was pretty interesting.
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So
Okay,
Pete
I think
Pavakwa said,
I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it, the chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay, BYU lost. They became closer together, head-to-head, and made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
No doubt. First of all, Brett Yormark is not a guy who steps away from a fight. I don't think you can be like that East Coast Jersey guy and be in the position that he is and not pull punches. And pull punches. Here's what he said about BYU. I was happy about BYU. No. Or was I happy about BYU? No. But I think overall the committee did the right job. Listen, it's progress over perfection. So he said that they got it right. I think he didn't do enough walking up to it. I think that what really took BYU out of this college football playoff was where they started in the rankings.
Correct.
And that started with the AP, but it also started with the college football playoff rankings. If they would have been a little higher and maybe not punished as much during the time kind of crawling their way back to only have that one loss and to get to 11-1 and to match up with Texas Tech, it just is. It's kind of hard to watch that. But I think he's also kind of towing the line and saying, hey, the commissioner. I think Hunter did a great job. And by the way, no one else is saying that. No one else thinks that Hunter Yurchek did a great job.
First compliment that Hunter's received.
But you know
I'm
what?
sure he's thrilled.
He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to sit. It was going to be Rhodes, right?
Yep.
Mac Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
Or you forgot his name, the Baylor AD.
Former
Baylor AD. So anyway, it just has gotten weird. But I thought it was interesting that he said that. He says that Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Pavakwa, he says he thinks his behavior is egregious, as you heard right there. And I think he's totally right. And I like that somebody in another conference, not just the ACC, because the ACC does need to stand up to Notre Dame. Notre Dame pretends like they could have everyone killed here and do the old emperor thing and do the thumbs down, and that's not the case. And if Brett Yormark shows up and goes, yeah, if Pete was in the room, I'd tell him his behavior sucks and he needs to get better, and we can't have this and this doing like, that Notre Dame is a victim. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in this sport. There's no dang way Notre Dame could ever be considered a victim in any of this.
Notre Dame's acting like a spoiled child. I don't like the way that they've handled this post situation. That's not a good message to send to your players. When you deal with adversity, when things don't go your way, you're teaching your players to what? Act like this? I don't like I don't like anything about it.
It's dumb.
I don't like the way they're handling it, and I agree with him that Bavakwa's handled this poorly. It's also really rich that Notre Dame moving forward now is guaranteed a spot in the playoff if they're top 12. And nobody knew about that until all this stuff came out. But
no one knew. No one knew.
Little thing in the fine print of the deal moving forward. But I will say this about Brett Yormark. I felt like he could have done BYU a greater service earlier in the process. He was way late to the party on speaking out. And I'm sure he was told that. And all of a sudden, in the last week or two, he suddenly surfaces on live broadcasts and wherever he can be. Where was he when the first rankings came out? Where was he after BYU took a 6-spot fall after that first loss to Texas Tech, which was ridiculously
6 spots when they
and
lost.
That's what hurt. That was ultimately the difference.
Yeah.
As soon as they lost that first game, remember that was their first loss.
If Notre Dame loses that game against Texas Tech, the way that BYU did, and they were 1 spot ahead of Texas Tech, what do you think? I mean, it's a weird hypothetical.
They're not going to drop that far.
They probably wouldn't be out of the top 10.
Look what happened to Alabama.
I bet they'd be 9 or something like that.
Alabama got boat raced by Georgia the second time around, and it was everyone looked the other way and said, well, they already beat Georgia.
It matters.
Well, that was a long time ago. It should matter what happened today. Anyway, the commissioner could have stepped forward early in the process and stood up for BYU. Now, would it have made a major difference? Probably not, but it's optics. Your commissioner needs to be fighting for the teams in this conference. And I think that these schools want to see their commissioner step up for them because who else is? It's a political process. Let's not lie. Let's be honest about it. There's definitely some politics that go into it, and ESPN's a powerful entity, and they have a lot of pull and say in this, whether they want to admit it or say it or not. And so you need your commissioner to stand up for you, and I felt like he could have done that earlier on in this process, and that was a little bit of a letdown. I know, I get it, that the conference is probably thrilled that Texas Tech is top 4, that they're getting a bye, but the whole thing with BYU isn't just about BYU. It's disrespectful to Texas Tech because the reason why BYU is getting so much flack for their losses to Texas Tech is because nobody respects what Texas Tech is doing.
Sure.
Everyone respects Georgia, so it's like, Alabama lost to a great team. They already beat them once before. Texas Tech's not getting that same kind of respect that Georgia's getting, even though I think you put Texas Tech and Georgia on the same football field right now, I'm picking Texas Tech.
It's hard not to right now, considering what they're doing. And I think the national people – I'm actually curious. I don't know for sure if Texas Tech – everyone just goes, they could win a national championship. I'm like, you're technically supposed to put every team in the college football playoff that could be good enough to win a national championship, which is where I think it falls short. There's a few every year.
Let's go to 16.
I don't know if that'll happen. I do hope that it does. I hope it goes to 24 and they do the 4 auto bids for all the big leagues and then they figure out everything else, and the SEC and the Big Ten could maybe be satisfied with 6 in a piece or 7 in a piece every year.
They're greedy. What did the SEC
They got
commissioner
5
say
this
last
year.
week?
Yeah,
I think we should have 8 teams in.
Oh yeah, they got 5 in.
Come on, man.
They had 3 last year, and that couldn't stand this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that was, and I'm not usually the conspiracy guy, but the 3 teams from the SEC that got in, and Alabama being one that didn't, I feel like a phone call from Nick Saban to Greg Sankey, not that they don't talk at all anyway. And I don't know if that kind of thing happened, but you think Nick Saban has some sway? I want that guy to run all of college football. I hope that they have a governing body and he's the head of it because he's so dang smart about it.
They do need a commissioner. There's no doubt about that. And this basically is pro sports at this point.
Yeah.
So you need somebody like that to kind of make everything work. And they got to figure out a way. But, Yormark's right. The playoff is a step in the right direction. It's just disappointing how it was all sorted out.
Yeah. Well, it was going to be imperfect because the people in the room are imperfect, and that's the way it is. So you got to be satisfied that it's not the old way that we used to do it. Hey, it was another group of fat guys in a room deciding back then. It was just all the writers.
You don't miss the old Bowl Alliance?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Bowl Alliance. Oh, yeah. Bust the computers out again.
The good old days back in the 90s.
We'll come right back. JJ and Alex continues right here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Nice enough to sit down with us because he's here, and he's nice like that, and I think he enjoys doing this, and it's probably as easy as it is to do anything else.
Yeah, I love high school football, and that's why we're here down in Utah County, and Mr. Mack's a part of that, and so I'm happy to be, involved. And I got to tell you, obviously the Utah Jazz is a big part of my life and my career.
Oh, of course.
And but I absolutely love doing high school football. I've done it in this market, I think, since 2004, so 20-plus years going on at this point. And love Utah County football, too. A lot of good football down here. Region 3, of course, with Corner Canyon, other side of the point of the mountain. But there's such great football here. I love talking high school sports.
Well, it's something that's special to all of us because we all have leaned into that prep sports side of things. It's great. So I want to ask you about something, and JJ and I, when we do these shows, we talk about everything. Let's talk about the Jazz for a minute because I wanted to know from the coverage standpoint, when you're watching this team and there are flashes of brilliance from, Keontae George is the story of the year.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And there are these bright spots in a year where everyone says, we already know what you are. And dealing with that, how do you guys deal with that? And because watching Will Hardy approach it seems different than what people think it was going to be.
Well, I think that coming into this season, and we had some opportunities to talk with Will about what were the expectations were going to be. And I think that they have just said, you know what, Will, you go out and put that team out there and see what can happen. And so he's really approached it that way. Now, obviously, development is still was a huge part of last year, And everybody was being told we're going to play the young players and just be, understanding of what's going to happen. This year, you're going to get a mix of young players and what can we build around. And I think it becomes more and more evident as we watch them play together that Lowry and Keontae are kind of the building blocks here, with Ace Bailey coming along. That's a talented young kid that's got so much upside. And so I think, our approach continues to be, even when we have these blowout losses that happen in the NBA, but when you have back-to-back losses the way that the Jazz, and then, you hear – what came off, on social media and the sideline.
Oh, Will Hardy getting after his guys for not trying?
But you
Come
love
on.
that.
People are surprised that a coach yells at his players.
Well, I don't know. I hope people are not surprised by that.
If you
sit anywhere near that, then you
already
weren't
know.
around.
Imagine Jerry Sloan having
you weren't
a video
around during the
leaked
Jerry
on
Sloan
social
era,
media.
because the Jerry Sloan era was, that was pretty wild for people that didn't understand that, there's still some serious coaching going on here.
Yeah.
So I think as we approach it from a broadcast standpoint, we're constantly looking for ways to, continue to develop and to tell that story about how the Jazz are developing and looking at the improvement and being honest about, okay, that just was not a good performance. And Will Hardy was not happy with that, and you wouldn't expect him to be. So, For us as broadcasters, anybody that's involved in that type of broadcast, you're always, hoping that you're not going to get 5-10 losses in a row, that you have opportunity. Yeah. And that's what we are getting. We're not – I don't anticipate that we're going to have these long losing streaks where we've lost 10 in a row and we've run out of things to talk about. We're going to continue to have moments where there is a growing pain, and then it continues to develop, and now you see a flash of wow, this is what this team could be, which we've seen, whether it be the Boston game or other times when the Jazz have overcome, some deficits and been able to make it competitive, even hang on to win games that they never would have won last year. There are situations that the Jazz have been in this year that are completely different from what we were dealing with last year.
Yeah, Lem, I look back last year, and it felt dark. Like, it was hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This year, while they didn't win the lottery, and that was kind of the end of it, when they lost the lottery, we were sitting at JCW's doing our pre-lottery show and watched it all develop, and we had a crowd there, and the air just went out of them, and they walked out of the restaurant, which was kind of a bummer.
I got to admit, I was mowing my lawn, listening right with the headphones on. I'm listening, and everybody in my neighborhood could hear my response. What?
Over the lawnmower. You know how dark that moment was?
I love dark. That was a dark time.
It was. Because we followed the Jazz for a long time. They're not used to being in the situation. And fans, you talk to fans all the time, Alema?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, what are we doing? Like, when are we going to win games again? Because fans here were kind of spoiled for a long, long time.
They're still showing
Even
up,
post
too.
John and Carl.
Yeah.
Like, we had good teams here that won a lot of games and went on playoff runs. And we've had all-star players since then. And now it just felt dark. But, Alema, I feel like it's turning this year. Like, Keontae George emerging as a potential star in this league has been a great development. You know who Lowry is, and you can see how Lowry and these young guys can work. But then, Ace hasn't had it every night, but you don't expect him to. But when you see the flashes, you're like, that kid could be an all-star someday. And there's another lottery coming up. Now, what do you think? Can you see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and you see there's this hope for the future?
And this is what we continue to tell this story, right, which is, okay, look at Houston, all right?
Oh, it's a
4
great
years
example.
ago, this was a terrible team.
Yeah.
And then they, continually would progress every year. Look at OKC, right? This is the blueprint. And they did it in the draft and did a little bit through free agency, getting Shea there. There are things that we can look at because we have this perspective. We're looking across the league and we're playing all these different teams. It's like, man, this team right here, this is what the Jazz could look like in 2, 3, 4 years. And that gives the fan base hope. Yeah. It's like, okay, we're not going to win it all, overnight. But I was just at our Sandy offices for the Jazz now, which are over in Southtown Mall.
Yeah.
And one of the things that stood out to me as I walked past this, this mural that has there, the bullet points of what the values are and the mission statement. And one of the things that it said was, to build the state of Utah, and then the bottom was win championships. And what it said to me was that we're doing this from the ground up. Yesterday, I think the night that was our day of giving for SEG. And it's getting involved in the community, and then, with the Mammoth now, all that support as well. You see how this thing is, being built to grow to the point where the byproduct eventually, and hopefully sooner rather than later, is going to be championships coming to Utah.
Detroit's also one of those stories where you're like,
another great example. Look at Orlando now.
They were supposed to be the worst team ever.
Yep.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago. And we always talk about OKC because that's a Western opponent.
Sure.
But there are teams that go, hey, the timeline thing where we all say, give it 5 years for the rebuild. It's like, that's not a prescription anymore.
Yeah.
It's different. And, I love seeing how these kids respond too. What out of these young guys who are on this roster, Keontae George is making that impact, but who else is, everybody wants to see what Ace Bailey can do immediately.
Yeah.
He's doing what a rookie does. He's coming in. He's having flashes of brilliance. He's learning a ton. Is he learning a ton?
No, he is absolutely learning a ton. And one of the cool things that we, observe while we're sitting at our broadcast position and we're watching the game, and we're just kind of, south of the Jazz bench. So we're looking down on, and I'm watching the older players like a Nurk or like a George Niang or
Love this season,
Kevin
of course,
Love,
too, yeah.
right? Who is they're embracing these young players as they're coming off the floor. And there's a lot of coaching that is not being done by the coaching staff, but is being done by the veterans that have been brought in. But I still look at Bryce Sensabaugh's, continued development as a guy that can stick in this league. And Taylor Hendricks coming off the injury, okay, let's see what he can do, and that's going to take some time. But as you're looking at Filipowski, like I think of Kyle Filipowski and his ability to just kind of sit and learn at the shoulder of Lauri Markkanen. I've seen so much of him, mirroring things that Lauri does, and Lauri is a phenom. He's
a
a
freak
bit
athlete.
he's a bit of a unicorn. I don't know that there's any other 7-footer that's been in the league that is like him. But at the same time, if you're Kyle, you're looking at Filipowski, you're looking at okay, what can I become and what can I learn? His ability to catch the ball up high and hit a three has improved dramatically from year one. And to see him have kind of the flash that he had at Summer League, and then that still takes time to translate into the NBA, but we're seeing some of that from him. So there's a lot of bright spots with the Jazz.
Well, I obviously with you sitting in front of us, I'm like, I'm not going to let this go because I want people to get excited about it. What's been great is, and there are games that I've gone to with my credential on, and there have been games I've gone to with the kids, and guess what? They aren't like. They don't do like a, I haven't liked some of these shifts. I haven't liked some of these calls that Will Hardy brought
what kind
off
of
the bench.
rotation is that?
Yeah, no. They're there, and guess what? They freaking love it, every second of
Yeah.
it. And these are kids that watch a lot of sports, but it's interesting to watch this whole thing develop. And I think people do the dramatic thing.
Yeah.
Our market doesn't do the dramatic like paper bag over the head, and we hate our own team, and it's self-loathing on top of it. No, we don't do that.
No, we
or please, let's not get to that. Or at least, we do not want that. Okay, so we'll take another break here. We'll come back. Alema's going to join us for another couple minutes here, and then we're going to cut him loose because, I don't know, he might be the busiest man on the planet.
He's got a lot of important things
He's got
to
some
do.
things going on. So we'll come right back. We got more to go. Stay with us. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We appreciate you being on the program here with us. We appreciate Alema Harrington, who's been nice enough to hang out with us. We're at the Player of the Week Awards here. KSL Sports Player of the Week Awards presented down here in Utah County by the good folks of Mr. Mac and Trucordia, who's hosting the event tonight. And it's awesome. The prizes get to be better. The kids got some really cool stuff last night that they didn't know they were going to be getting. And I think KSL's done a great job of sneaking in some prizes that the kids didn't know. Because I'll be honest, one of the kids yesterday, the parents are like, we got to drag him to get going here. And I was like, they were like, dude, we're going to go to this thing. They're going to honor you. He just didn't like the whole attention thing. And then by the end, smile on his face, cool new watch on
By
his
the way,
wrist.
I was just yesterday out at Rockwell with Rich Eggett and Johnny Rich. And Johnny was telling me, "Oh yeah, we just did the watches,
all the logos,
all the logos." And I love these guys. These guys, and we have so many companies. And Trucordia, we're here with one of them today, Mr. Mack, of course. But there's a lot of companies, Rockwell's being one of them as well, that are so tied into our community, and I love that. And I love what Pete was saying when he talked about the relationship with high school sports, because people need to understand from a marketing standpoint. My brother works in the sports marketing world. From a marketing standpoint, if you're looking for something that is going to tie the community to you emotionally, get involved in local sports, because everybody has a positive opinion about their school, their kids, and if you can attach your brand to that, then there's this carryover
100%. That
you get that love too. It's like, oh, these guys, like, I don't even know this company, but they're supporting my kids, so I'm supporting them.
Yeah,
right?
Prep has such a totally different reach, and it's so unique because it's not the thing. You're not going to break down high school games like on the radio ad nauseum, right?
And you're not nearly as critical of the high school players as you will be of,
But the stream up online.
Yep.
If it's not up, I mean, we get killed, right? Like
and for good reason.
And I know, and so you have such a demand because these are their families and they're into it. I want to get your thoughts before we chat a little bit about Mr. Mack that you. With the Kalani extension and just how much energy is coming out of Provo with the money stuff and all those things that just went on. It was a wild 10 days for BYU.
It's interesting because, college sports and sports in general, there's a lot of action and reaction. And when let's say when Utah went to the Pac-12, the kind of knee-jerk reaction, we're going independent.
Yeah.
Right? Now, BYU has all this money that is flowing in, and the knee-jerk reaction, okay, we're going private equity. It's like, okay, we got to figure out what this landscape looks like. Now, I'm extremely pleased with the way that Kalani was handled, that it got handled in the timely fashion before early signing day.
Yeah.
I thought it was handled by Santiago and that group very, very nicely and in a very positive and timely manner. And so I'm grateful. And I've known Kalani for a long time, known his family for a long time. His dad and my father, before he passed, they were good friends. He used to play squash back before pickleball was a thing together here in Utah County. And so I've known that family a long time. Of course, covered Kalani's career and his brother at BYU. And so when I look at the best possible coaches for BYU, Kalani is at the top of that list. And so I'm so grateful that he's able to stay and at the same time use that opportunity when you do have some leverage to not just improve your situation, which the beautiful thing about Kalani is never even seemed like it was about that. It wasn't about his salary. It's about what can we do to set up the program to continue to be successful, and we've got to compete in this new landscape, and how are we going to do that? Let's like put that foundation in place now so that we can have success going forward, because he knows as well as any of us know that a 6-win season is right around the corner for any coach, but how can you have some sustained success and maybe a 6-win season and not around the corner? Like if you put the things in place that you need, you might be
10
able
to 15 million more in NIL funds, you can avoid that.
You can avoid
Texas
that.
Tech. You could all change in 1 year. Before we get out, get the best blankets and gifts ever. Save 50% right now this season with the promo code ZONE50. No better time during the holidays than to go to MickeyCouture.com and get these for 50% off. Best blanket ever, best gift ever, or at any of their 6 locations. We'll come right back. JJ and Alex continues. We're going to chat with Mike Folta, play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, coming up right around the corner here. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Right now, it's a 6-car pileup in the LA zone. It comes free for Kevin Fiala. Headman feed. Armia has a breakaway. Armia walks in and scores. Joel Armia got behind everybody. Mikhail Sergachev this way. Keller, one-timer. Gunther, he scores! Bullseye! Dylan Gunther! Utah connects on the power play, and it's 2-1. Goes to Keller. Paterka gets it back. Stenlund, a one-timer, had his stick tied up. It's sent down the ice by the Kings, and they nail the empty net. 1:38 to go in the third, and the Kings take care of business late.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's that time of the week for us to be able to talk some hockey. Mike Folta, the play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, joining us momentarily here. We are here in Utah County at the KSL Sports Player of the Week Awards, brought to you by Mr. Mack. Trucordia is our host, and we're going to see these players filing in, and they've been honored all year long with the awards, and they're going to be able to enjoy a little banquet and have people clap for them, which is always fun for these, between 16 and 18-year-old guys, man, that come in and they're doing tremendous things, and so we love doing these events. It's really, really cool to be a part of. So
we were going through the list of players here at the Utah County one. Oh my goodness,
it's an all-star list.
It's a special list.
It is. So we're here for that, and we love that they have those associations, and we have a really, really good time with it. Let's jump in here with the cut. Top of the hour here. Let's get right to it with Mike Folta.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Doug Smith brings you this portion of the program, an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. You can find them in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. So easy enough to do. Mike Folta joining us on the program. He's the play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, brought to you by Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. Mike, how are you, man? It's been a couple crazy weeks for you. I don't think there's a time during the season it's not a couple crazy weeks for you.
Oh, it's a crazy season, and I tell you what, nobody's opting out of bowl games over here.
I know.
We are rolling right along in the NHL season. We got the champs in town, the Florida Panthers, two-time back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They are in town to take on the Utah Mammoth, and it's a crazy stretch, 21 games in 37 days, just coming off the road trip. We're back at home a little bit, but it's what we love to do, and if we didn't love it, we couldn't survive.
Yeah, I was looking at the list. Which bowl game was Purdue invited to this year?
There has never been a better time to be irrelevant on the college football scene than right now. Leave me out of all that mess.
Listen,
you know what?
I think they were looking for somebody to play in the Birmingham Bowl. So
the 5 and 7 teams that all turned it down, and they still never called Purdue. Come on. I mean, I
think it's us and Oklahoma State that don't have a power win, like a Power 4 win the last 2 years.
You got basketball, and don't say don't. It's
how'd
young.
that Iowa State game go?
It's a young year. Yeah. It's fine.
That was a tough way to start the day.
Mike, we were talking about all these things with about this game and about this team right now, and I had the privilege to be able to watch these games most of the time with my boys who are Mammoth fans now, right? I can't imagine a group of young kids who aren't on board if they're watching these games. And, it's been a rough go here, and kids are dramatic. The media's dramatic sometimes. I think we turn into children sometimes when we start going back and forth, and it's either going really, really well and it's amazing, or it's terrible and the sky's falling. What's going right and what's going wrong with this team right now?
What's going right is the compete level and the battle level, especially what we saw on Monday against the Los Angeles Kings, which is a really hard team to play against. They play a boring style of hockey, and they force you to kind of play the style you need to play once you eventually get to the playoffs. And we saw that for Utah against LA. Mammoth didn't win. They hit 3 posts. They did a lot of really good things. They converted on the power play. They had a couple breakdowns in the first period that bit them in the backside, but that compete level was there. Another thing that's going right is we're seeing Karel Vejmelka return to the form that we saw last year from Veggie in what was a career season for him. He went 6 periods, just allowing 1 goal through 2 games against Vancouver and Anaheim. Was pretty solid against LA in the loss on Monday. Got beat on a couple breakaways, but, I mean, those are basically 50-50, whether you stop those or not. And it took a bouncing puck to get by him in the third period for LA to get their third goal. So Karel Vejmelka playing at a very high level, and this team playing very hard. What's going wrong for the Mammoths is that they're without kind of their most creative and most dynamic offensive player right now. Logan Cooley will miss his 3rd game tonight due to injury. He leads the team currently in goals.
So that's a big missing piece up front. And every team goes through injuries, especially with this condensed schedule. Utah's been pretty fortunate injury-wise, relatively speaking, but losing Cooley is not what you want to see when you're trying to find yourself offensively a little bit. But it feels like with the way this team has been trending from the back half of the road trip into the homestand, that they're gonna play the game the right way in the offensive zone, and that means getting to the interior, especially against this Florida team, which forces you to get to the interior if you want to score.
So Logan Cooley out is big news. Hopefully he's back sooner than later, but it's tough. I saw the injury, don't know how serious it is, but obviously he's got to be in a lot of pain, and we'll see how this all develops. But they're obviously going to miss him, and they can't really replace him. What do they do to kind of make up for that lack of production that they're going to be missing with him? What can they do offensively? Who's the guy that has to step up in his absence?
I don't know if there's one guy. I think Dylan Guenther's a name that comes to mind. He scored a power play goal for Utah on Monday, and Cooley missed some time last year due to injury. He missed 7 games due to injury, and in that time, Guenther was also hurt for a little bit of that. But when Guenther came back and Cooley was out of the lineup, Dylan Guenther was like a goal per game player, basically. Wow. So we saw Guenther kind of step up to the plate when Cooley was out. But you also have, some other incredible offensive options on this team that have been really good offensive players in this league for several years now, and Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. Those are still the two leading scorers on the team. So those guys have been really good throughout the year. And J.J. Peterka has been playing with them as well. Peterka has 12 goals on the year, and without Cooley in the lineup, Peterka has the most out of the remaining team. And that group, when they get rolling, they are fun to watch. It's like a laser light show in the offensive zone because there is so much skill between Peterka, Schmaltz, and Keller.
So we look at seasons, sometimes we break it up into quarters or halves, and you kind of go, well, at this point this, and at this point that. How much we look at the standings all the time, and obviously playoff race stuff happens post the new year. Where does I have no clue how the Olympics work into how they do the NHL season, because obviously all these guys who are playing on these teams, number one is to maybe win the Stanley Cup, but playing for their team for a chance at a medal at an Olympics. Everything kind of goes on pause, but how does that work? I don't know. I don't remember the timing of all these things.
Yeah, we'll get the Olympics up in Milan coming in February. It's going to be a 3-week break, so it's a really long break in February, and that's why the rest of the schedule is so condensed, because it has to get squeezed into a smaller amount of time. And you said it, playing for your country in the Olympics is what hockey players dream about. Obviously, the Stanley Cup is the ultimate prize, but winning Olympic gold is highly regarded as well. It's right up there, and for a lot of these players, it'll be the honor of their career to represent their country. And if it's anything like what we saw at the Four Nations tournament this past February, it's going to be just electric international play. We saw heated rivalries between the Swedes and the Finns. They don't like each other very much, but then obviously you've got the U.S. and Canada that put on a show for the sporting world, while you had the NBA All-Star game, jumping through hula hoops and stuff like that, whatever skills competition they were doing, and you had U.S. and Canada hitting each other in the face during exhibition games. So we're expecting incredible games coming up in Milan in February, but there has been some intrigue because it sounds like the rink is 3 feet shorter than it was supposed to be as they're building it right now. I'm not sure if they're using JJ as a contractor or something and he just fudged the numbers, but somehow the dimensions aren't what we thought they were going to be. And they're going through it a little bit on the construction side in Milan as they try and build this new rink for the Olympics.
Mike, that doesn't seem like something that you could get wrong, because I feel like at the Olympic level, correct me if I'm wrong, the dimensions would be pretty clear as to what they would be. I don't know how you screw something up like that.
Yeah, I don't either. It's like they only had, 4 years to prepare, right? I mean, they knew this was coming for a long time.
Usually it's like 12. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, we're here in Salt Lake City. We're already building for the Olympics, these venues and infrastructure and things like that. And so I'm not quite sure how that happens. Now, you have to keep in mind, too, hockey rinks are a little bit, not quite to this level, but a little bit like baseball parks, where at the Olympic level, at the international level, I should say, a lot of times there's slightly different dimensions than in the NHL. In the NHL, they're all the same. But at the international level, sometimes the rinks are a little bit wider, a little bit bigger. There's more skating and more space out there at the Olympic game. Whereas in North America, our game is more predicated on physicality, winning small area battles, things like that. But I don't know how they get the dimensions wrong. They must have taken, taken an Indiana University math class or something.
Oh, boy. I love it.
I like that.
I actually love that.
Little rivalry zing.
Yeah.
Well done. Well played. It's pretty cool to have the Panthers in town. We only get to see them once a year, but two-time defending Cup champs are kind of slogging along here. They're at only 2 points ahead of the Sabres for the worst record in the East, which is a big shock. What's up with the Panthers right now? Why are they not dominating the East like they have the last 3 years? Yeah,
well, one big thing is injuries. They've lost arguably their two best players due to injury. Alexander Barkov is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, defensive forwards in the game. He's got plenty of offensive skill as well, but it's typically his job to shut down other players' best players. And he's been out after he tore his ACL and his MCL back in September. So that's a huge loss. They could get him back for the playoffs, but he hasn't played at all in the regular season yet. And Matthew Tkachuk, who was one of those Team USA Four Nations heroes from last February, he's also been out due to injury. They're expecting him back sometime soon here in December, but he hasn't played yet. So, I mean, if any team loses your two best players for an extended period of time, that's gonna really make things difficult. They've had some other injuries as well to some of the supporting cast from last year's Cup run. But aside from just the injuries, these guys have actually set a record over a 3-year span for the most amount of games played through 3 years between regular season and playoffs. They've won back-to-back Cups, but remember a couple years ago, they also lost in the Stanley Cup Finals when Vegas won in 2023. So they've been to the finals 3 straight years. They've played as much hockey as anybody during that span, and it's catching up to them a little bit right now. Injury's a big part of that. Their goaltender, Sergei Bobrovsky, who's all-world in the playoffs, he's been a little pedestrian here this year, but again, a lot of that is because of what's in front of them, not having some of the regulars in the lineup.
Mike, something that has been kind of a theme is people are looking at this team and they talk about the young talent and the veterans. Who are you seeing stepping up in the moments when things have been coming up short for this team? Because I know that there have been some guys who are like, hey, we need to get some vocal leadership in this thing. We need to get some fire. And anytime somebody questions effort and a couple guys get sent down, then that always kind of puts a fire under you. But who are some of these guys who have stepped up and kind of taken over that leadership role? Obviously, Keller's got the C on his chest, but I feel like it's a big group of a lot of older guys who have a ton of experience, and they could get these young guys whipped into shape.
Yeah, it's been one of my favorite things about this team, watching the team respond to difficult situations or watching the team respond when one of the older guys does call them out in the media or call the group out as a whole. And yes, Keller is the captain and the leader. He wears the C, but there's a bunch of other guys that have won Stanley Cups on this team. There's 9 total Stanley Cups on this roster. Mikhail Sergachev is a big voice in that room. He's Utah's top defenseman. But also Ian Cole and Nate Schmidt. We've heard from them in the last couple of weeks, both kind of saying to the media in post-game comments after losses, hey, there's a certain style we need to play to be a playoff team, and we're not yet there. We're not playing the right way. We're not playing the way we need to play. And every time that happens, whether it's Cole or Schmidt, the guys we've heard from recently, the team responds and makes adjustments. And I think you have a problem if things are being said like that and there's no response from the team. That might say, like, okay, these guys are checked out a little bit. But it's been the opposite. Whenever there is a rough patch, those are some of the guys that step up. And I mentioned Nate Schmidt. He got his Stanley Cup last year with the Florida Panthers. So he's well acquainted with this group, and he got a Stanley Cup ring last night, and he'll be going up against his old teammates here this evening.
That's pretty cool. How did they present that to him?
I think they got a dinner somewhere, and they had boxes for Nate Schmidt and our backup goaltender Vitek Vanacek, our two guys who were with Florida last year, and they have this really cool box that lights up when you open it up, and that's a lot of bling on those guys' hands. So it's pretty cool. And whenever they travel around to see the old players who were on that team last year, but with a different team this year, whoever's in charge of the rings brings those, and there's a little presentation. So pretty cool of the Panthers to make a little production out of it.
That's awesome.
Mike Folta, play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, going to get the call tonight, of course, with the Utah Mammoth and the Florida Panthers. I got to see one in the Panthers building last year.
That's cool.
We were just happened to be down there, and it was a really close one. Mike, you probably remember that one. It was like they played their guts out, and of course this was a Stanley Cup caliber team, and to have that go their way. I don't know if it went to overtime or if it was just. Oh no, it was. It was like seconds left of overtime. Florida put the win in, but. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for all you do and coming on the program here with us. And we're looking. One of these days when I'm actually in the building for the game, I'm going to come down and harass you. I always get cold feet because I'm like, nah, I'm not going to bother him. But I'm going to wait till I'm going to know for sure when you're in a break, and then I'm going to come over and harass you. So
20 minutes of harassment in the afternoons, not enough. You have to come by during game hours. All right.
I'll wear that big Boilermaker hat. Just to.
Oh,
just so
you can call the game if you wear the block P on your hat for all I
care. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate you guys. Tuss up.
There you go. Tuss up at the end.
I like that.
What's funny is in cases like this, you always get like when you have a team here in town, or even in a corporate situation, they have the little signature at the bottom. That's just a beep signature at the bottom of the email.
Yep.
I think everything that comes out of that building is tusks up, man.
It's good to have.
Hard to say.
Good to have a slogan.
Tusks up.
Yeah. Man,
I speak for a living, and that one's tough for me. I don't know what's going on. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. When we return, we've got much more to go on the program. Oh man, we're about an hour away from these kids about to walk into this into Trucordia, and I always love it because there's a little bit of sheepishness, right? When they walk in, they're kind of hands in pockets, and they're like, how you doing? And their parents are like, hey, and the athletes are like, they just are like, they're coming into this thing. It's like, hey, man, you're going to get an award. You're going to get awards. You're going to be honored tonight. This is about these kids. And so I always love doing this stuff. But when you watch them walk up for the first time, they're always a little bit like, what am I supposed to do? It's like nothing.
There's rival players here. The tension's always fun.
The one last year was
Salt Lake.
Was the Salt Lake one, but there was also one in Northern Utah last year where the Roy and Bountiful
kids all got together.
Because it was like a week.
Soon.
It was like a week after the state championship, and it was like, "How you doing?" Pretty good.
not as good as you.
Well, the Bountiful kids the Bountiful guys are bouncing around, going,
of course.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, we'll take another break. We'll come back. We'll return. We'll jump back in again here at Trucordia in American Fork, and we got you covered the rest of the day. So stay right here with us. Mitch Harper is going to join us top of the hour. BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Stay right here. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. That music, of course, means that the NFL Blitz is upon us. I was noticing that the NFL, there's a couple of things that have been going on with the league, and obviously when we watch these games, like, there's a reason that they're really good at all the things that they do, JJ, and it's just one of those deals that the amount of and one of the things that came out was that they're throwing all this. I think it was already there, but the NFL's throwing ton of money now behind the flag football. You've seen the spots that are
which
running.
Which is great, and it's going to be in the Olympics. You're seeing women's flag football make a big leap.
How much are they going to lean into that, do you think? Like, I mean, if they're going to throw
before
financial
2028, they're going to lean into it heavily because it's good exposure for the league internationally heading into that Olympic Games. I think the NFL would love to see flag football continue in the Olympic Games moving forward. Obviously, it's kind of a trial thing in LA because it's an American sport. Is that going to continue in Australia, et cetera? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the NFL is going to lean way into it because it's good for the game.
We've already seen Team USA in basketball, not win gold medals before, but it's pretty disappointing when they don't. But I mean, flag football, would that be more embarrassing if we don't win the gold medal for the next 10?
If we
Olympics?
lose the gold medal to Angola, yeah.
Was it Angola that was the what was
Charles
that?
Barkley gave the elbow to the guy Dream Team.
But what was
they
the score?
creamed Angola? It was bad.
It was like a 78.
I don't know. They
win.
creamed everybody. I don't know why we continue to pick on Angola.
But Angola was like the first that everyone went, yikes. But
Poor Angola.
Look at that. An Angola Team USA drop from JJ in reference to blowing out teams.
I believe that was 33 years ago.
Well, if they're throwing the financial support behind it, does that mean that they're going to allow – I'm interested to see if they're going to allow the players to play in it.
Not NFL players.
Too much at stake?
I don't think it's that it won't allow it. It's a different game, and there are professional, high-level
that are really
flag
good
football players in leagues, and there's going to be people that really specialize in playing flag football that are going to be playing that sport in the LA Games. It sounds great to have Justin Jefferson catching passes, from Jordan Love or something like that, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I was just thinking about that because it's like one popped Achilles tendon.
Well, that's the other thing.
And the Players Association is going to be like, we're done.
I mean, they don't even play the Pro Bowl anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not playing big time, like regular season games, it's tough to get these guys out there.
Yeah. It's the whole thing is really funny to watch. It's really funny to see how, that there's all this attention that's going to, flag football, but now they're officially in fully with the financial backing there. So I love it. By the way, did you see all the Phillip Rivers memes and jokes? I loved it. There was a guy. People are like, the phone rings and the guy's in like a full 1985 basement, and he's acting just like a grandpa. He's like stands up and goes, "Oh, okay, let me get the phone, honey. Hello, the Colts. How are you, sweetie?" And then starts going through. Yeah, the grandkid's doing great. He's 1 year old, and all of it is true. I think I could get in shape. And then he walks. He goes, "Let me check the family calendar real quick." And he walks over there, and he's out of breath, getting the calendar out. He's like, "All right, yeah, I should be there. Give me a new pair of New Balance or something like that." Some dad joke in there.
You've seen that video of the old man in a walker with the flags on for flag football, running down the sideline.
Yeah, at Kansas.
Yeah, and everyone's saying, have Phillip Rivers just got signed. They show video of that. That's been pretty funny. It's crazy that a grandpa who has a biological child that is older than Riley Leonard, who is the starter.
That is crazy.
It is crazy, and he's almost eligible for the Hall of Fame, or he might even be eligible currently for the Hall of Fame. Can you imagine player in the Hall of Fame playing in an NFL game?
This should put him over the top, and here's why. Regardless of if he's terrible when he comes in, just coming back after 5 years of not playing and just cracking the old back and go. And by the way, this is weird too because they're all, will you come back? He goes, "Can I get number 17? Well, Daniel Jones wears that this year. Can I get number 17? And they're going to do it.
Yes, they are.
They're going to
Daniel Jones is like, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir.
I just think it's so funny.
The respect is there.
Suit me up for 17 again, and I'll be there. Just the amount of. I
mean, it's like some random Laker wears number 32, and Magic Johnson comes back. Are you going to tell Magic Johnson he can't have 32?
What's his career yardage on passing? It's got to be
Phillip Rivers.
It's got to be in the yeah. Oh yeah, you just had this in front of me, Joey, and I was like, I mean, he's 7th all time.
Yeah,
63,000 yards passing, and people wonder if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame or not.
I think he is.
I think the fact that he did it on the Chargers is actually. Probably should be a bigger tip of the cap.
You have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, he didn't win the big one, and it's hard.
He was an 8-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, and the guy was stellar, right? I mean, he had a 17-year career. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what happens. Right now, he's just a practice squad guy, just one of the practice squad guys. Okay, that's how
he's got to earn his way.
Yeah, that's how they're going to treat him. Hey, 17, turn in your playbook. You haven't been good enough. All right.
Also, here's another funny fact: is Phillip Rivers is currently a semifinalist for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class in his first year of eligibility. That's insane. And he's going to be on a roster.
Hey, is Geno Smith hurt or is it just bad quarterback play?
Probably both.
At the Raiders.
So it looks the Raiders are probably ready to turn the page on that.
So it looks like Kenny Pickett's going to get the start against the Eagles for the Raiders. Hey, his former team, Kenny Pickett's former. Has he already been on 3 teams in like 2 seasons?
Yeah, Steelers, Eagles, and now the Raiders. Yeah.
I like Kenny Pickett. I think he's a fiery dude. I mean, he's the kind of guy he's already had like 2 concussions in the league.
When the highest compliment you can pay to a quarterback is he's a fiery dude, that's probably not what teams are looking for at the quarterback position.
I stand corrected.
Oh, yeah, he's got moxie.
Well,
okay.
He's tough. They're like,
can
I
he
don't
throw
want
the
tough.
football without throwing interceptions?
I want to hear the word finesse. I don't want to hear tough dude, fiery dude. He's got a
Does he have a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio? Because that's what I'm more interested in.
Fiery dude is the addition of gritty.
Oh yeah,
this year, right? Oh, just a gritty.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, grit and grime.
The whole thing is interesting to me to watch these quarterback. I mean, for how highly regarded the league is with talent, and it's replete with it. It's tons of it.
Yeah.
There are so many teams who just cannot find that talent at quarterback. It's so hard, and they just struggle for decades, and they're just it's just tough for teams like the Raiders, who you come in every season and go, this could be it.
Yeah.
You're the Browns, you go, this could be it. I mean, they're the worst of the
and they let their fans down every year.
Every year. And even when you have, really high draft picks, it still doesn't work out. Maybe you should put this thing to the test and maybe just go out and maybe just get one of those gritty quarterbacks out of like JMU.
Can you name one?
Do they have any gritty quarterbacks? I assume they're all gritty because they're at JMU. Is that bad to
I
think
have
that?
no idea who the JMU quarterback is.
All right.
But they got to figure something out.
There's your NFL Blitz.
They need answers.
We'll take another break here. We'll come back. More to go on the program. Top of the hour, Mitch Harper is going to join us. We've got a top 10 right around the corner, so stay here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Thanks for being with us on the program. We're honoring the kids here tonight, JJ.
Yes.
And tell us exactly what this thing is, because you guys jump in and the KSL Sports Player of the Week Awards. We do it across all the Valley here, but why do we do these things, man?
Yeah, so we have the KSL Sports Player of the Week Awards. Jake Hatch kind of handles that, and I'm part of the committee that chooses the weekly winners. They're announced every Friday on DJ and PK, and then on our social media. And the end of the year, each and every player of the week, we bring them to this banquet, and we honor the whole group. They can bring their family and their head coaches, have a big party here, and eat some grub, get some inspirational thoughts from some of the great athletes that have played high school football in this state. We do Northern Utah. Salt Lake County was last night. Northern Utah was Monday. Our friends at John Watson Chevrolet hosted that one. And then we hosted at KSL the Salt Lake County Awards last night. And then tonight here at Trucordia, our good friends at Trucordia, sponsors of Game Night Live, are hosting the Utah County Awards. And the Utah County list of players is really phenomenal. There's some great athletes down here. So that's what we're here doing tonight, and it's one of the things we're really proud to be a part of because, as you know, KSL Sports has a big initiative behind supporting high school sports, not just football, but all sports, and this is a big part of that.
Another part of it is also, of course, and Hercules is one of our presenting sponsors up in Salt Lake, but, of course, the Hercules Hero of the Week program, something we take pretty seriously. We love doing it. We love honoring these kids, the volunteers who help these kids become better athletes and better people. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest, and you can nominate a Hercules Hero of the Week. You nominate that person, and we give a prize out every Thursday to the winners. Is it a Win Ticket Wednesday today, JJ?
I see in green right now that it is. Green means go.
Not just that. It's time for us to give out the Toto, Christopher Cross, and the Romantics tickets.
It's the Yacht Rock Tour.
Come on, let's get this thing going.
Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater.
Hey, I'm telling you, people are going to pretend like they. Oh, that sounds ridiculous. Yeah, and they're going to
take me away.
Listen, you're have your wife feather the hair.
Oh, sure.
And then start getting ready to sway. When you're dancing out there in the crowd. 801-575-ZONE. You win a pair of tickets to Toto, Christopher Cross, and the Romantics at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater coming August 21st of next year. You can go to livenation.com, or you can win them today before the tickets even go on sale. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. Alema Harrington joining us on the program. Alema, nice enough to dip in this afternoon as we're honoring all these high school kids and oh, boy, the Mo-Bet has just showed up.
Oh,
it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem.
Alema, you just missed the Hawaiian barbecue.
No,
Sorry.
they knew to wait to bring it out because, it was going to be a rough go. But we appreciate you joining us on behalf of Mr. Mack and all that they do to support the local athletes as well, Alema.
Of course, and Mr. Mack, been around for 61 years now. Third and fourth generation ownership, but owned and operated. When you walk into one of the 9 Mr. Mack locations across the Wasatch Front, you're going to be dealing with somebody that has a vested interest in the company and a vested interest in the community. And that's one of the beautiful things that, has tied me to Mr. Mack over all these years. And when people see me and they see the suit that I'm in, it's like, oh, is that really a Mr. Mack suit? Well, of course. I'm always in a Mr. Mack suit. And we talk about the missionary package, and for $6.95, you're going to get a great deal and everything that you need, including a performance suit and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, the mission belt, a pair of Johnson & Murphy shoes. You get all of that for $6.95. But for the dads that are out there listening, what about Dad? Like, Dad needs a suit.
Yeah,
too.
what about me?
Hey,
come on, man.
Coming up, right? Yeah, get suited up. We got Jack Victor and Talia. Talia is probably my favorite line of suit that we carry at Mr. Mack. But you got a great selection in modern fit or traditional suits, and we'll make sure that you get taken care of, and you'll feel like, you know what, I really like the one at Mr. Mack. And when people ask me like, that suit that you got on, like, that's too cool to be from Mr. Mack, then that just tells me you haven't been to Mr. Mack lately, and you need to show up at one of our 9 locations and check out, all of the values and, of course, the selection of suits that we have at Mr. Mack. So make sure you stop by, and we're proud to be a part of what you're doing tonight and honoring these athletes and love. As I looked at the names, I'm like, man, there's some great athletes that are coming through Utah County, and young and old. Some of these guys are going to be back next year. I'm looking at Stroshine on that list. That is just a freshman.
Yep.
And so excited for the opportunity to watch some of these guys go on and play next level, or the ones that are just the underclassmen and get a chance to see them next year.
Yeah, most won't play at the next level. That's just the way the sports are. Like in general, all the high school players, not everybody's going to play on a college team, but there are going to be kids here tonight who are likely going to be pushing to make the league.
There
man.
could be
that's
some
how
NFL
good.
guys in that room tonight.
Yeah, and that's what we love. I mean, Utah's turned them out before, so I love being able to see those things. So, Alema, we'll dip in with you again here in the next few minutes. Thanks for being with us today, man.
Absolutely, fellas. Thank you.
There you go. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mitch Harper's going to join us next. Stay right here. We're going to talk all things BYU, including the talk at my house last night, the replay of the highlight, because I was in the car listening to the Greg Wrubell call.
Oh man,
which you do not want to miss if you've never heard that one. That was it was.
Are we going to play it next?
It was a crazy moment. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna force Alex to dig it up here, but maybe. We'll see. Mitch Harper is going to join us next right here at 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready to go. It's got to be quick. Boskovic handed the ball into Rob. Shoots from 3. Scores it! Yes! And scores it! Rob Wright the third! Just won it for BYU! Game-winning 3!
It got off, and the Cougs win it.
I told you. I just imagine all the people that were listening to the broadcast, to that call of Greg Wrubell, and immediately you had to – so people went nuts when they did it, but they also had to kind of immediately turn the radio down, like, whoa.
Right.
Because he and Durant must have – there must have been like a small – like there must have been – it was bonkers. And I got home and I asked my oldest, I said, did you guys watch it? He goes, yeah. And, even the kids who don't really care to watch, much in the sports department were like, could you believe it? Because those are the kind of things that those highlights, that kind of a highlight, reels everybody in. Because it looks like it's something that you watch in an Instagram reel or something.
Well, it was
right?
all over. SportsCenter couldn't play it enough last night.
Yeah.
It was on ESPN.
Right.
So
They were
it got
pumping
a
it up.
lot of run last night.
For sure.
It was all over social media. People were talking about DeBonsa, his 28-point game. It was a massive night for BYU basketball.
Yeah, to get the win after the 22-point. And I told you yesterday, because we were watching the score, it was 22-19, and then
they
Clemson,
made our worst at the end of the show yesterday.
They did. And they, and then we left, and I said, what's going to happen? Because they've been doing the fighting back thing all year.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I think Alema said it. He goes, yeah, they've been playing with fire way too many times. And I said the same thing to you. I go, they're going to come back. They're going to get within 7, and then they're going to lose by 15. And they just kept whittling that thing down. I thought it was wrapped up before Clemson made that 3. And on a night where Richie Saunders doesn't make one three-pointer, 0 for 7, and I think Moo was 0 for 5, right?
Yeah, they didn't have a great night shooting. It was kind of a slog. They had to really buckle down on defense in the second half, and that's how they got the win done. It was a great win. It doesn't matter how you get it, right? But to do it that dramatically, the second greatest second-half comeback in BYU history, I believe.
Oh,
I think Iona's
I think
number one.
ESPN said it was the big. Oh, Iona was 27, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, joining us on the program right now, he is Mitch Harper. He is the our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, and he's the go-to expert anything BYU-wise. His hands couldn't go fast enough on that keyboard after that shot was made last night. Mitch, when you watched that thing go down and you saw him coming back, were you sort of half getting into the game a little bit? Because it's at Madison Square Garden. If you're down by 22 at the half, you're going, oh, man, this isn't the showing you want on national television. And instead, it turned out to be anything but missable. You had to watch that highlight.
Yeah, it was an electric performance from BYU, and they've had these issues with slow starts. 4 games this year out in the East Coast, they've faced a halftime deficit. UConn, Miami, Dayton. And then last night against Clemson, and in all of those games except UConn, BYU was the favorite. So they're not living up to, in the first half at least, to what people expect them to perform like. But in the second half, you just saw one of the great halves by an individual talent, maybe in the history of BYU basketball, and that was A.J. DeBonsa going off for 22 points. And as you guys noted, I mean, it's the biggest second half comeback in BYU basketball history. 22 points. Passes Utah of 21 points in 2002. The largest comeback was Iona, as you noted, 25 points in the NCAA tournament, but that got trimmed down at the half to about 15, and then BYU started to storm back in that second half. But so it's not very often you have a big comeback, and then you got a buzzer beater too. I mean, you got to go back to TJ Haas in 2019 against Houston for the last buzzer beater. I mean,
that corner,
special stuff for BYU.
Yeah, I mean, they had to dig deep. Defensively, I was really impressed. It felt like they were able to flip a switch in the second half and really lock down on defense. But you're right, it was all about A.J. DeBonsa. He's been the buzz and talk in college basketball circles for the last 24 hours. That was a unbelievable performance. We know we're only going to get to see this guy for a year. It's going to go really quick. How much should we appreciate what we're able to see last night with this kid?
It's truly remarkable, and I think what's been impressive too from my vantage point is how much he has evolved as a player. I remember his first day down in southern Utah when he arrived in Hurricane at Utah Prep. He arrived in that part of the state, and his first day with Utah Prep, I was there on location, and to see how he's matured physically, how he's matured with his game. Because one of the knocks on AJ during his prep career was that he didn't win much. They were always in the mix for some big stages, some big moments, but it was always, the Boozer twins were the ones coming away victorious in big games, or Montverde was the one coming away with a big win when Rob Wright, coincidentally, was with Cooper Flagg. They took down AJ when he was with Prolific Prep. So, it's showing the evolution of his game and his maturity, and this system with Kevin Young that he single-handedly picked BYU because of, it's working well. And and BYU doesn't have much depth right now, and that's a little concerning. I think the first half starts are concerning, but never have we seen a BYU team that has as much just big-time playmaking ability at the top end of the roster like this before. I mean, Jimmer Fredette's the one guy that you point to that had it, and go farther back, Danny Ainge. But to have, three guys that can, basically get you 70 points on any given night, that's stuff you don't see often in college basketball, let alone BYU as a whole. But I think, AJ's mid-range game is elite. I think the three-point shot's still a work in progress, only 1 of 2. Last night he doesn't look for it much, but as Kevin Young noted, pick your spots and just hammer that home. Kevin Young always tries to find mismatches, and when they find mismatches on certain spots of the floor, they will attack it relentlessly, and that's what AJ did last night. And then that highlight dunk down the middle of the lane, that's going to be a signature moment that I think a lot of Cougar fans will remember. But, this team's living up to the high expectations so far, and they're in the mix for everything that people were anointing them before the season. And, maybe it was a little bit tougher challenge last night than maybe I would have thought, because I thought BYU had a much better team overall than Clemson. But the size of Clemson gave BYU some issues, and BYU responded, though, and pulled off a big win on basketball's greatest stage.
BYU has had a really good, obviously, schedule kind of going into this thing. This has to be the toughest they've ever played before they get into conference play. And also what comes with toughest games and big-time tough games is they play a lot of big-name teams. Now they're going to get a little bit of a reprieve, I think, instead of having to face the big-time schools. How much does, the next few weeks, affect the way that net ratings work and all those things? Because they've had a great kind of start to the season, but at the same time, there are games you don't get rewarded with. You get kind of punished with, even when you blow teams out.
Yeah, BYU to this point has faced the 11th toughest schedule in college basketball to this point, and that's definitely one of the strongest non-conference slates BYU has ever faced. Now, granted, it's one of the reasons why you haven't seen BYU at the Marriott Center in 32 days as of this Saturday. It'll be their first visit home since November 11th when they host UC Riverside. So that just speaks again, even though BYU has stepped up its efforts and it feels like they're trying to be a new blood in the sport, programs still don't want to go through the doors at the Marriott Center and play in Provo. So BYU had to take this thing on the road, even to the Delta Center, to play some big games. So to be in this spot at 8-1, where really you've only played 2 games at home, pretty impressive. And for the next 4 games, they're at the Marriott Center before Big 12 play starts. The key when it comes to the net ratings, hammer these teams. BYU is going to be favored by about 20 points against UC Riverside. If you can get that to be a 30-point beatdown and control that game, some of the advanced metrics, really like those margins of victory. So if BYU could put on, some maybe style points that we talk about so much in football, that actually is a tangible metric that we do see daily with college basketball, and that's one of the refreshing things about this sport compared to football, where you can still have some progress in your resume playing the UC Riversides, the Pacifics of the world, and still elevate your profile. But everything's in front of BYU. They're a top team, our top 10 team in a lot of predictive ratings, and that's where you wanted to be. I mean, if the season ended today, this would be tied for the best season in BYU basketball over the last 30 years, tied with the 2010 BYU team, which was Jimmer Fredette's junior year in terms of predictive rating. So BYU's in a great spot, and that strong schedule has been a really good barometer. And even the preseason games against Nebraska, who's a top 25 team, North Carolina with their size and length in the front court, BYU has really tested themselves, and it's only going to get tougher in the Big 12, where you've got Arizona, Houston, Iowa State look like they're going to be outstanding in league play. BYU's excellent, but they still might be the third or fourth best team in this league. That's how deep the Big 12 is. It's going to be a buzzsaw truly every night. I think it's going to be the best we've seen the league since BYU joined the conference.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, and you're right. It's going to get tougher when the Big 12 season starts. We saw where Iowa State just made a big jump after crushing Purdue. Arizona's number one in the country right now. This league is going to be a lot of fun, and with this BYU team, I can't wait to see how it all shakes out. Now turning our attention to football, the dust has settled after the College Football Playoff Committee made their decision. A lot of controversy across the country. Notre Dame's still pouting and whining like a big giant baby. We're watching that happen. BYU didn't really do that much, Mitch. Do you think they were treated fairly by the committee? How do people at BYU feel they were treated?
They weren't treated fairly at all. And BYU, it's just the same song and dance. I mean, I think what's unfortunate about this spot, JJ and Alex, is that, I think when BYU got the invite to the Big 12 in 2021, I think Cougar fans kind of naively thought all their issues of lack of respect would just go out the door because now they got those Roman numerals on their jersey, and that would naturally give them respect. Well, clearly there's no respect for the Big 12, and there's definitely not any respect for BYU. And the same issues, applied to BYU now as they did in the Mountain West, where it feels like you have to go through the Big 12 and be perfect. You have to be completely undefeated to get to the highest stages of this sport. And it's unfortunate because I think this Big 12 is really good. I don't know if it's better than the SEC or better than the Big Ten or on equal footing with those leagues, but I think there's really good football and highly resourced teams that make it challenging to win games on these road venues. I mean, BYU navigated a Big 12 schedule where they only had 4 home games, 5 on the road. They had to basically take the show on the road with 2 early games in the regular season at home. I mean, you think about that alone, 10, in their last 10 games, they had six of the games on the road, 60%, and then you had a neutral site where it was a pro Texas Tech crowd. BYU's done their damage away from home, and that just didn't get valued at all, and that's unfortunate. And I don't know what the answer is to get this changed, and I think it was discouraging that Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, when I asked him point blank, if he's now shifting his thoughts on what playoff format works for this league, he doubled down on the 5+11, and I think that is the wrong move and the wrong thought because you do not want to give any more power to the selection committee when in regards to the Big 12 because the goalposts will just move. We're only 3 years removed from in 2022, Kansas State, a 3-loss team out of the Big 12, was in the top 10. Why is it now that 3 years later, a 1-loss team from the Big 12 can't even sniff the top 10? It's because the goalposts moved and the bracket got bigger, so they're going to keep these teams out. And if it got to 16, who's to say that an 11-1 BYU wouldn't be sitting at 17 and 9-3 Texas and 10-2 Vanderbilt would jump frog or leap BYU in that situation. So you've got to get to a point in the Big 12 where it's automatic qualifiers heavy, and they don't have any control. That's the difficult thing is that all the control to form this new format is in the corner of the SEC and the Big Ten. They have a memorandum of understanding that they are the ones that ultimately decide this next format. Really, the Big 12 and ACC have no say. Now, there's a collaborative effort, but they have ultimately no say in the final matter of the next format. They got to hope that the Big Ten stance that's been reported of heavy automatic qualifiers is the ultimate format because if it continues to be heavily focused on at-large, the Big 12 will always be a one-bid league, and that's unfortunate because this is a really good conference.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed, too, in Brett Yormark's just saying, I think they got it right with BYU, and it's not perfect. It's progress. It's like it's fine to have these canned answers that are ready, but it didn't seem like he stood up for the league enough beforehand nor afterward. And I think maybe he's just trying to play the game a little bit with these other conferences and but it doesn't help the cause of being feeling like the little brother of the Power Fours.
I agree, and I think the big issue here, too, that's not being respected enough in BYU's resume is I think Texas Tech might legitimately be the best team in college football. Now, Indiana's outstanding, and I think they absolutely deserve to be number 1. They're undefeated. That means something. But number 2, I think Texas Tech should be at 2. That defense is so good, and you guys know that, and I think that's being undervalued. And I think when Yormark says that sort of commentary, he's undervaluing even Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech not getting the chance to go to the Cotton Bowl and play in that game in the quarterfinals was a disservice to Texas Tech. I mean, they would have filled that up again like they did for the Big 12 championship. Instead, they got to go to the Orange Bowl, which will still probably be a pro-Texas Tech crowd with them likely facing Oregon, but it would have been easier to be in the state of Texas compared to traveling out another time zone to go east and play in the Orange Bowl in a day game. So I just think the Big 12 as a whole gets undervalued, and that's why I think all of the Big 12 fan bases need Texas Tech to go win the whole dang thing, because until a Big 12 team actually goes out and wins it, they're just not going to get respect. And maybe Texas Tech can turn the tide and give a little more respect to this conference. But BYU had a special year, and this is one of the great seasons in program history. I'd put it maybe in the top 3, right there behind 84 and 96. To me, it's better than last year's team. And I think the stories, how the season played out, the wins, I think this is a better team than last year. It's an excellent season. It's unfortunate that it didn't end in a playoff, but I think that the positive thing for BYU is that they continue to make progress year after year in the Big 12, and now the next challenge in 2026 will be to ultimately go win that Big 12 and get into the playoff for Kalani Sitake.
Well, with Kalani's extended and the NIL money he was able to bring in and the money for his assistants as well, it should allow them to remain consistent. I guess the springboard in the next season starts with the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We'll have plenty of time to break down that matchup in the coming weeks. But I was curious if you have a feel for just how into this game BYU plans to be, how many players are going to be playing. Are we going to see Bear Bachmeier in this game, or is this a situation where we could see a lot of players sitting out, which is the trend around the country?
That's a big question in this game because, I think with the players' status and also just the investment into this game, I kind of question that. Last year it was easy to get up for Coach Prime and Colorado and sell it as the Big 12's people champion. This one, I could see a total letdown spot potentially. And look, Kalani's teams have been pretty good in bowl games, 5-2 under Kalani in these spots. Kalani is going to want to maximize this opportunity and get the most out of it. But I coming out of Arlington, the feeling as they were walking in that locker room and the press conference, it just felt like a team that knew the season was over. And because they knew the playoff wasn't going to come calling, even, Fesi Sitake, passing game coordinator, said something on X to the point of, what a great season. I'm thinking, there's still one game, guys. There's still one more opportunity to go win, and you can go get your 12th victory, which would be the first time since 2001, because I always believe, my thought is, go lose a game and then tell me if it's a big game or not. I remember when the UAB game, we were out there, JJ, and everyone was just saying, it's not that big of a deal. BYU got hosed, and then they lost it, and people are going, why'd you lose to a team that had a self-imposed death penalty 2 years prior? So you want to say it's not a big game, well, go lose it, and then tell me if it's not a big game. So yeah. I really question how the motivation's going to be. We're going to have our first practice availability tomorrow. It'll be a good sense to kind of get a barometer of this. And I saw the photo, too, of Bear and his teammates with Bear in the brace at Olive Garden down in Provo. I mean, his health status, that was a big concern. I mean, I remember watching that first drive in Arlington. He was visibly limping right after that hit he took from Lee Hunter and Roberts up high. I don't want to say it completely changed the game, but, man, it had a huge impact because Bear could no longer run. And so his health, to me, if he is not even anywhere close to 100%, to me, you sit him because you got to think long-term with Bear's health and things like that. But, Kalani said this week that Bear will be fine, and Kalani, for the most part, has been pretty transparent with injuries this year, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and kind of operate under the thought that Bear will play. But that was concerning because he was limping even after the game pretty considerably after the Big 12 championship game. But you look at potential opt-outs, what's the thought process of Isaiah Glasker, Keanu Tanavasa? They went through senior day. Even L.J. Martin, do they consider opting out of this game because they went through senior day? They've got NFL aspirations. Do they just say, I'm sitting out and not going to return and go to the NFL? That's going to be a big storyline here. But if they do win, I think it's an opportunity for BYU to really springboard themselves to next year because with the returning quarterback factor, with a lot of key returning pieces, you can make the case that BYU should be a top 15 team next year in the preseason. So I think from that standpoint, this could be a big opportunity for BYU to get some momentum outside the playoff heading into 2026.
Mitch, one of the things I'm interested in, and I just don't think it's the personality of a Kalani team, but at the same time, like, is there an attitude of, not to go the full Notre Dame side of it, but is there going to be some folks on that roster that aren't bought in to what they're getting into with the Pop-Tarts Bowl? Not necessarily in terms of taking Georgia Tech not seriously, because I think they do try to take those opponents seriously, but just kind of the flatness that sometimes happens in these games where they felt like they could have been somewhere else. Do you envision any of that happening with this team?
Possibly. I think it's a real question. I think it's human nature is going to come into this one. Because I think this team last year was chomping at the bit to get to the postseason after they missed out on the Big 12 championship game. And, it was easy to get up for Coach Prime and a Heisman winner in Colorado, and it was an indoor stadium, and I just thought it was a cool environment, whereas this one, you're going to miss Christmas again. It could be easy to say, what's on the line here? Nothing much. Georgia Tech's not a glamorous opponent, even though they could absolutely beat this BYU team. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. I mean, so you guys know. I mean, they better bring it, because this could be one where you take a big L and then you end the season at 11-3, and people really start to question, well, how good was that BYU team if they end the season that way? So I think it's a much bigger question to me this year than it was last season, because just, again, how they performed in Arlington, they just disappointed after that first drive. They weren't competitive again against Texas Tech, and it was a missed opportunity. I could totally see a letdown spot, but I do think that the seniors with Chase Roberts, with Tanner Wall, if there's anyone that's going to rally this team, and I think also Bear Bachmeier as well, I think those are the guys that have to bring it all together to get up for this bowl game and get ready for this one. It almost feels like bowl games anymore outside of the playoff we're playing the role of psychologist to get into the mental side. Right. I mean, that's half the battle with these games, and I think that's going to be a huge one with this contest, because other bowl matchups under Kalani, I feel like BYU either had an underdog spot or something to prove. This one, there's not much of that. It's just, do you have that fight to go get another win and basically just do it for pride to end the season on a high note? So is that enough for these guys in the NIL portal era? I mean, maybe this could be a spot where it tests the culture a little bit of Kalani's program, but I'd still like to think that BYU is going to put out its best foot forward, but I think it's a bigger question than in years past, that's for sure.
Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Awesome to be able to join us as much as he does, and he does a great job. KSLSports.com, Cougar Tracks, of course, on all the social media platforms, and Cougar Sports Saturday on Saturdays. So, Mitch, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again. Thanks for all you do for this beat, man.
No problem, guys. Happy to be on as always.
There you go.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch Harper. By the way, this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. They bring us that first hour, or that first part of the hour in the 5 o'clock hour. So there you go, TrajanWealth.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We have lots more to go, so don't miss any of it. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
So right now it's a 6-car pileup in the LA zone. It comes free for Kevin Fiala. Headman feed. Armia has a breakaway. Armia walks in and scores. Joel Armia got behind everybody. Mikhail Sergachev this way. Keller, one-timer. Gunther, he scores! Bullseye! Dylan Gunther! Utah connects on the power play, and it's 2-1. Goes to Keller. Paterka gets it back. Stenlund, a one-timer, had his stick tied up. It's sent down the ice by the Kings, and they nail the empty net. 1:38 to go in the third, and the Kings take care of business late.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Lots going on, of course. We've got tons going on today, and it's always fun to do these. This is the third of 3 of our KSL Sports Player of the Week banquets that we've been doing. We're down in Utah County. It's brought to you by the good folks at Mr. Mac, and Trucordia hosts us. And they're phenomenal hosts. They do it right. Everybody on our team does a phenomenal job. I'm not talking about you and I, by the way.
Oh, no. I have nothing to do with it.
No. The promotions and marketing staff, and of course, Jake Hatch, who this is his baby, and he does a phenomenal job. So kudos to everybody to put this thing together, and more importantly, the kids, man. Honoring those guys, it's a big deal. So we appreciate them being a part of it, and so we're gonna have a banquet coming up here pretty soon. The food's here, the kids are gonna roll in, and we're gonna have a great time. In the meantime, JJ, this hockey team facing off against the Panthers tonight, but you're at home, and the Panthers are struggling.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means, because I don't think the Mammoth are struggling per se. I think we have a little bit of a stilted view on how things could have been because of the 7-game win streak to start the season off, right?
Yes.
That was the thing that, to me, was one of the more interesting things, is that we've graded harshly this team based off of that 7-game win streak, right? So I think it's one of those deals that we've got to have a little bit more of a thought of what the long game is. But you were right about, the standings are interesting, because it's like, right now they're in one of the wild card spots, but the thing is they're so far behind the third place team in this division.
It's wild card now or nothing.
And so, and they go, they're in fourth, and you go, well. I don't know.
Big hill to climb to avoid the wild card.
Right. So your thoughts on the Panthers and Mammoth tonight, and how to get this thing back on track here?
Well, it's just going to be a slog for the Mammoth. This team's going to just have to fight. The Panthers are the defending, 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs. We talked to Mike Folta earlier. They're banged up. They're hurting. They're not their usual selves. So it's a good time to get the Panthers here at home. I think that this team had a rough night on Monday night. I don't think that was an effort and a performance that anybody was really proud of. And I think they're going to be itching to get back on the ice tonight and make up for that in front of the home fans. A lot of people are going to be in the building tonight because they want to see the best in the NHL. And there's going to be a strong desire, especially with Nate Schmidt and Vanacek, former Panthers on the roster, to go out there and get a dub against their former teammates. So I expect Utah to play well tonight and get the win. You don't get the Panthers in your building just once a year, honestly. And so I want to see them have a great effort tonight and get a dub. I think they can do it.
Well, our producer, Alex Napolis, wants us to get some breaking news.
Yes, he does.
And frankly, we need to get to it, because the development of Sharon Moore being fired today, we talked to you about that. We brought it up top of the show. That was the first thing we talked about. Sharon Moore fired for an inappropriate relationship. According to the allegations, the university had extensive evidence, as they said, to be able to fire him possibly for cause. But those allegations have now risen to a different level, and a very, very, very terrible level. JJ, what do you have?
Yeah, Dan Wetzel and Pete Thamel of ESPN are breaking this news that ex-Michigan coach Sharon Moore was detained by police in Saline, Michigan this evening and turned over to police in Pittsfield Township for investigation into potential charges. That's all we have right now, but this has gone from getting fired to being detained by police.
Yeah, and I don't know what the nature of the charges are even, but do the math and just
potential charges. They haven't even been filed yet.
Right. Yeah.
If you're being detained by police.
Yeah. So not arrested.
This is more serious.
Not
than
arrested, detained.
An inappropriate relationship.
Yeah.
Within the athletic department.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And you hate to see all this. It's a big mess, and Michigan's already had plenty of controversy they've had to deal with, but this is another level.
What's crazy about all this is that it all came down today. And, at some point we start talking about the football side of it. We're like, who are they going to hire for the
right, because that's our focus. What does it mean for Michigan moving forward?
This is
another level.
Extremely bad.
Yeah.
If things start to come out and things start to get proven otherwise. Again, allegations. Sharon Moore, he definitely is fired by Michigan. That's not an allegation. They let him go potentially for cause on allegations of an inappropriate relationship, and then he's been detained by police in Michigan as of about 30 minutes ago. So there you go. All right, stay right here with us. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
First moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Short time because we got to try to sneak in Alema Harrington here to chat with us. And we're at the awards banquet, of course, tonight. Harvey Longy. And we got hockey at the top of the hour, by the way, too. Harvey Longy joining us here. You're going to be the –
He's the keynote speaker tonight.
Listen, you gotta. What are you gonna tell these kids? Are you gonna scare them? Is it gonna be like those jail shows? You're like, stand up. How do you motivate? How do you get ahead of a 16-year-old? I mean, the good thing is you've been in their spot where it's just like some of the best players in the state.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is just understand that consistency. Doing it at they've done it at a pretty dang good level, whatever it is, right? Well, currently it's high school, but right. Are you able to do it again and again and again and again and again? You can win the player of the week 1 week, but if you can stack another week and another week, and that's by stacking 1 second to 2 seconds to 1 minute to 2 minutes to 1 hour to 2 hours to 1 day to 2 days. Yeah. And if you could keep doing that on a consistent basis, doesn't matter if it's football or if it's math or if it's you want to be a chef or whatever it is, consistency's everything, and I think that's one of the main points I want to bring in tonight.
Well, we appreciate you coming down, man, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to grade you at the end of this thing. I want to get motivated, man.
Hey, man, we already have a Dave Portnoy guy that's running BYU.
No, Provo Dave is dead.
Provo
Dave's
Dave.
out. He's out.
I think he was a poser. I think he did it for the clicks. He did it for the clicks.
He was too. Harvey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out with us as usual. It's just a fun thing to be a part of. I wanted to sneak in one best before we go here, JJ. And it's brought to you by Doug Smith, of course, in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. All you have to do is just go to Doug, because they know what they're talking about. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Spencer Fano gets the All-American nod, first team. Jack Kelly and John Henry Daly earned second-team honors. I saw that there was also an All-American honor for LJ from the Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Writers of America. He made second team as well. The honors that are going to hit these kids, man, when you get All-American status, you have multiple on a team, and here in this market, it's awesome.
We focus so much on the playoff that I don't think we've given enough time to pause and recognize how great of a season the FBS teams in the state had, and I'm going to include Utah State in that. BYU on just one spot, 2 spots out of making the college football playoff, just came up short in a Big 12 championship game. To make that game in their third year in the league is phenomenal. Utah had a 10-2 season. Their only losses were to BYU and Texas Tech. They crushed a lot of the teams they played this year. What a bounce back from 5-7. Right. And for Bronco Mendenhall and the Aggies to get bowl eligible, get to 6-6, almost beat Boise State on their field. What a phenomenal start to the Bronco Mendenhall era in Logan. So there's a lot of reason to be really excited and proud of what these teams accomplished in the state. We get caught up on the big picture, the wins and losses and all that stuff, but what a big season for all three of those teams. I think all three are going to be better next year.
When you look at some of these kids and the potential of them going to the next level, and a lot of them who have signed to go to the next level, and then you wonder what that journey is even going to look like because there's a commitment to a school. Yeah. There's maybe the journey at that school that ends after a year or two, or whatever it might be. It's just it's insane to think about what these kids are running into is more. It's more wild than it's ever been. It's crazy. So, hey, want to remind you if you have the time, it's going to be well worth it for you to go down to Nephi and go see on Friday Hans and Scotty live doing their program at the Bar Dub Grill. All you have to do is go down there, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. We'll take another break here. We've got more to go around the corner. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.